Hello, Guy 55 here again. Yeah, what? You're thinking about the title of this video and you're going, what? Come on. Oscar-worthy, Fast Five? Come on, you're just picking things out of a hat. Because, there are previous videos that I made where, Drive is Oscar-worthy and then Bridesmaids is Oscar-worthy. Yeah, I've made those videos, and basically I like doing those videos because it's kind of like to pick out something that I think is, usually kind of Oscar-worthy about that film. And it's not always going to be like Best Picture or Best Actor or anything like that, but it's going to be something in the film that I think is actually deserving of a credit to being an action, to being Oscar-worthy. So, what is Oscar-worthy about Fast Five? I mean, seriously. Well, the thing is that, when you wind up looking at Oscars, you wind up actually seeing that there are Hollywood films that do get a kind of Oscar nod for visual effects and so on. Because there is another technical expertise that Oscars wind up doing in their particular, stuff. Or in their, list. Well, the one thing I have to say about Fast Five is that it was a big surprise, because I did not like the rest of the other Fast and the Furious movies. I didn't like them as much. I mean, I liked the first one, it was okay, but the second one, third one, fourth one were all like, they were forgettable. They weren't just, they were here, But then, of course, Fast Five came out, and I wasn't really expecting much of it, and then when I watched it, and then I watched it again on DVD, it just came out on DVD, and I was just like going, wow, that was actually cool, because the funny thing about it is this is how you make a good action movie, and it is one of the best action movies this year, because this is how you make a good action film. The way that it works so much is when I'm watching this film, I couldn't imagine how many times I was actually going, yeah, awesome, that was cool. I mean, every single scene was like that. It was like just really cool to see. Well, anyway, what is actually good about this? Well, the funny thing is what I've noticed about other critics, especially myself, is the fact that when you wind up watching a film, there's one thing in a film that all of us, I think, are really very, very anal about when it comes to actually an action movie. I mean, very anal. Which is basically editing. Editing a film is really necessary, and very necessary, when you wind up making an action movie. You have to know what the hell is going on, and in some ways you can't be too bored out of something. Usually within action movies these days, they always have the jostling camera that goes up and down all the time and around. But they also have, like, editing sequences that have, like, 6 edits when someone's swinging their hand. It's just like you can't see what the hell is going on. Really, not at all. Well, the thing is, in this movie, you can. And in a way, the editing can actually tell some sort of like precursor of what's going to happen in the movie. You see, I never really saw the trailer of the film, nor did I actually see anything that was behind the scenes before I saw Fast Five. Well, the thing is, when I went into seeing it, and I saw the film, and there's this one scene where Vin Diesel goes from rooftop to rooftop to rooftop, right? And we wind up seeing Vin Diesel from the bottom going over the rooftop to another roof. Well, The Rock winds up seeing this, and he winds up going, because he's the FBI agent that's after him, right? Well, anyway, he goes into it, and he winds up hearing him on the roof, and then, there it goes. And he goes to try to actually, intersect him or, kind of grab him or in some ways. Well, anyway, the editing that winds up happening within it, you wind up following Vin Diesel, you wind up following The Rock, and then you wind up following Vin Diesel, The Rock, and then something else happening, then Vin Diesel and The Rock, and then it kind of builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up, and then it reaches a climax, which sounded a little sexual. Sorry about that. But anyway, it reaches a climax, and the thing is that Vin Diesel, in midair, it's like this slow motion thing where he's in midair, and then The Rock just busts out of the window and just lands on the actual, roof, as well as lands right on the same roof as Vin Diesel. And then they're both together, and you wind up actually, there's a cut where the face, and then you see them, he sees him and he sees them. They're like interlocking eyes or whatever. And and then at that moment, you just know. I mean, you just know they're gonna throw down sometime in the future. You just know. You're just like, yes, they're gonna throw down sometime in the future in this movie. You just know it, right? So basically, and then of course it winds up happening, and the fight sequence in this movie is just absolutely awesome. I swear, it is one of the best fight sequences, just due to the fact that you know what the hell's going on. There are some certain particular kind of jostles of the camera that goes like up and down like this, but it only goes up and down for about like a second. You don't see it a lot. And the thing is that it also just hits it with every single, like, you know, like a punch that they wind up hitting. It's like a couple of punches and then they cut to another scene. But you wind up actually being able to follow it so fluidly. It's just amazing how they edit it, and it's just wonderful. Then, of course, the actual, you know, the car sequences where they intercut between what the guys say in their cars when they're talking to themselves, and then, of course, outside where they wind up, you know, going through the cars. And it's just really kind of really well edited there. It's just amazing. I mean, this editing is just absolutely good. This is how you make a good action movie. Seriously, you do. None of the really other scenes are really absolutely good, but it's very good for this action movie. But the editing is just top-notch. It deserves an Oscar for it. For the editing of, you know, Fast 5, Oscar. Really. Seriously, just consider it. If someone, you know, hopefully, you know, no one's going to really see this. But anyway, consider it. I would consider it for an Oscar. For just editing. Film editing. Anyway, I also want to mention one thing that's actually not Oscar related to this movie, which is actually the interesting thing about this film. This is also how you make an ensemble cast. I mean, seriously, making an ensemble cast like this is just amazing. The way that they wind up doing it, I mean, the dialogue is silly at times. The scenes with them seem to be a little silly. But at the same time, this is actually how you do it. Because you like these characters. You really enjoy their chemistry between each other, that it just seems right. It fits so well. So, I mean, seriously, this director works very hard, and I really liked it. I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody else didn't, but I actually liked Fast 5. It is just a really good action movie. Go, you know, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't rented it, you know, if you haven't rented it yet and you haven't seen it, see Fast 5. It's a good movie. It's a good action film. And, I guess that's it. And I thank you for your time, and have a nice day.